Yeah, thank you. To me, it's a recognition that in addition to pursuing great space science, it is often just as important to engage actively in space diplomacy and education. I spent most of my last 25 years devoted to building and maintaining local and international relationships across institutions, but also geographic locations. We often forget to take this, and we take this for granted, but it's particularly important for Australia. Relies so much on our friends and our partnerships to secure access to the space data and Earth observation data in particular that we rely on so much for so many parts of our life. So a great opportunity to showcase some of this amazing opportunity that I've had over the years has been in, for instance, some of the work I've done to look at development of a bushfire detection and tracking system we call Sentinel hotspots in the early 2000s, where we used NASA satellites, Terra and Aqua, and their imaging systems MODIS to detect and track the fires over time as the satellites were coming over Australia. Sentinel Hotspots is now continues to be an operational system for Australia, and it's now been enriched with additional satellite data sets from Japan, as well from other agencies in the US and also from the European Copernicus program. So it's extremely rich data source, but also extremely useful for society. This has then evolved and been built upon by our colleagues and friends in the Asia-Pacific region. And again, Sentinel Asia today provides access to a lot of satellite data from many, many countries freely and openly to people, especially in the region, which has so much population and so many of the disasters occur in that region. The second, I guess, highlight has been my participation in the Open Data Cube partnership, which has been a fantastic opportunity to work with NASA, with the USGS in the US, as well as European colleagues in the UK as well, on developing a system that provides access to data analysis tools for large volumes of Earth observation data, as well as a large archive capability that we think will help many, many countries, especially in the developing world, where you don't have access to necessarily very high computational infrastructure. And finally, the last highlight in my career has been the privilege to have been part of the conversation, as I said, for the Australian space sector, where we provided much input on the need and the application of satellite data for Australia, its economic benefits, and so forth, and which culminated 2 years ago in the formation of our new Australian Space Agency. Thanks. Yes, I've been heavily involved in the Earth observation sector. So involvement in organizations such as COSPAR, IAC, the Committee on Earth Observation Satellites, as well as the Group on Earth Observation, have been fantastic opportunities and really enriched my career, but also allowed me to have some strategic input globally in terms of where we think Australia can contribute to the global Earth observing programs, and in a small way help adapt and modify the sector to the benefit of society. So all these organizations have been great forums where we have been able to advocate not only the more effective use of space data and Earth observation data in particular, but especially the principles of open science and open data for the benefit of society. So it's been a fantastic opportunity to be part of COSPAR and so many of these organizations that have a global reach and where we can use our views and our input to promote some of these key global principles of free science and free data, open data. Thanks very much. Yes, I mean, space science has so many opportunities for fantastic science and innovation. It's exciting for young people to think about space and space science. And so my advice to myself, if I were younger, or younger people, would be, amongst all these different areas in space, find a good niche that you like and you're interested in, that you're passionate about, and pursue it with enthusiasm and persistence, and you will be rewarded highly. But more than this, I think it's make sure you also devote some time to build networks amongst your like-minded peers around the world, not just locally, but globally, especially with the internet and social networks these days. These are fantastic tools to build your own profile, but also build your network, because any of these scientific rewards will be amplified so much more through your network and through your peers around the world. So make sure you do good science, but also spend time nurturing your colleagues and your networks. Yeah, well, I have still a few more years to go and a few projects I need to look after at the moment here in CSIRO in Australia that will continue to grow the space economy here in Australia. But I'm also keen to continue to nurture my international partnerships that will further help grow our domestic space economy, especially those which promote the use of Earth observation data in developing countries and address some of the very large global challenges that we all face at the moment, including climate change and disaster response, which are becoming more and more acute and frequent. At a personal level, I have a very strong interest to continue working in this region in Southeast Asia with many of the colleagues and friends I've met over the years. But having been born in South America and Colombia, I would like to bring something back to that part of the world and help where I can grow space science and awareness of the value of space and the opportunities in space to that part of the world in South America. So that's hopefully what will keep me busy over the next few years. Thanks very much.